How to never lose money. I mean, come on, that's a pretty bold claim, right? It sounds, well, impossible, especially when we're talking about trading. But according to the legendary trading psychologist Mark Douglas, it's not just possible, it's the absolute key to success. So let's really get into what he means by this because, spoiler alert, it has nothing to do with never seeing red in your account.
And this quote right here, this is the foundation for everything. I mean, think about it. The market is just chaos. It's totally unpredictable. It couldn't care less about your perfect strategy or how badly you want to win. The only variable in this entire equation that you have 100% control over is you. It's your mindset, your discipline, your reactions. That's it.
So that brings us to the big paradox, right? If financial losses are just part of the game, and believe me, every single pro trader, every successful investor has losing trades, how on earth can they operate from this mindset of never losing? Well, it's because they've completely flipped the script on what a loss actually is. This is the real loss. See, it's not about the money. The money, that's just a business expense, the cost of playing the game. The real damage, the one that can actually knock you out for good, happens when a financial loss makes you lose your objectivity. You know, when you ditch your plan, get rattled, or start revenge trading? That's the loss you can and absolutely must learn to avoid.
Okay, so here's the crucial thing to grasp. The amateur and the professional, they're basically playing two completely different games on the same field. The amateur is desperately playing a game of try not to lose money. The professional, on the other hand, is playing a game of mastering themselves.
And this right here, this shows you the huge emotional gap between those two mindsets. For an amateur, a loss feels so personal, doesn't it? It feels like a judgment, like you did something wrong and you're being punished. But a pro, they've totally neutralized that sting. For them, a loss is just neutral feedback. It's a business cost, like a restaurant buying ingredients. It's just data. Nothing more, nothing less.
So this brings us to our first huge mental shift. If you want to stop losing psychologically, you have to fundamentally change what a financial loss means to you. You've got to strip away all that emotional baggage you've attached to it. And honestly, the best way to think about this is the learning to walk analogy. It's perfect. Think about a little kid, a toddler, learning to walk. They fall hundreds of times, right? But do they get discouraged? Do they sit there and think, man, I'm such a failure, I'm never going to walk? No way, of course not. Every single fall is just feedback. They adjust their balance and they try again, completely free from ego. That's the mindset we're after. Losses aren't failures, they're just part of learning how to keep your balance in the market.
And that idea leads us straight into our second shift. See, once you start seeing losses as just neutral feedback, your focus can finally move away from the one thing you can't control, the outcome, and onto the one thing you absolutely can, your process.
The amateur, well, they define success as a winning trade. And because of that, their emotional state is just a total roller coaster, always looking to the market for validation. But the professional? They define success as flawless execution of their plan. Their validation comes from their own discipline, and it's completely detached from the result of any single trade.
And this quote just drives the whole point home. Seriously, let this sink in. When you execute a trade according to your plan and it loses, that's still a success. If you followed your rules perfectly, your entry, your stop loss, your position size, you succeeded. You did your job. The market's random outcome is totally irrelevant to the quality of your action. I mean, that is a profound game-changing shift in thinking.
Okay, so if we can't control the outcome of any one trade, what can we rely on? This brings us to the third critical shift. You have to embrace probability and completely let go of that need to be certain.
Look at this. A strategy that wins just 60% of the time is, by the way, a fantastic, profitable edge over the long run. But really look at what that means. It means that 40% of the time, that's 400 out of every 1,000 trades, you are going to lose. Losses aren't just possible, they are a mathematically required part of your success. You literally can't have the wins without them. It all comes down to the difference between thinking like a gambler and thinking like the casino. The gambler walks in totally focused on the outcome of the next hand, riding this huge emotional wave of hope and fear. The casino, though, they are completely detached. They couldn't care less about any single hand of blackjack because they know their statistical edge is going to play out over thousands and thousands of hands. That is thinking in probabilities.
So when you put all of this together, redefining what loss means, focusing on your process, and thinking in probabilities, it all boils down to one thing: mastering your inner game. The real battle was never with the market, it's always with yourself.
You have to see the market for what it is. It's a giant mirror. It's neutral. It doesn't harm you. It simply reflects what's already inside of you. If you're impatient, guess what? It's going to show you situations that tempt you into impulsive trades. If you're fearful, it's going to test your resolve over and over. The market isn't doing anything to you, it's just revealing you to yourself.
So how do you actually win this inner game? Well, it really comes down to this simple three-step process. First, you just need the awareness to notice that emotional impulse to react. Second, and this is the absolute key, you pause. You create a little space between that feeling and your action, and it's in that space that you get the power to choose your disciplined response over your emotional one.
And look, the market will test you, constantly. It's the greatest and maybe toughest teacher you'll ever have. But the real question you should be asking yourself isn't, why is this happening to me?
No, the real question is, what is this showing me about myself? What is this experience teaching me about my own beliefs, my fears, my level of discipline? Every single trade, win or lose, suddenly becomes this incredible opportunity for self-discovery and growth. And that's how you turn every single outcome into a genuine win. Because in the end, when your mindset is truly aligned with the reality of the market, that it's all about probabilities, that you only control your own actions, and that losses are just feedback, the very concept of losing just dissolves. Every event becomes an opportunity to learn, to refine, and to grow. And that is how you never truly lose.